So sometimes you need to debug some software on your retro computer, such as your Rosco M68k. And when you need to do that, some retro computers, such as the Rosco M68k, do support GDB debugging, which video linked here. But sometimes what you need really is a bit of a quicker turnaround, and what you want to do is emulate the system so you can really debug at the CPU level. So for that, in Rosco M68k land, we use MAME. Now for those who are not familiar, MAME is the Multiple Arcade Machine Emulator. It's a project that's been going for many years. It supports pretty much any actual retro computer and all kinds of arcade boards and all kinds of things. There's a fork of it that we maintain that has full Rosco M68k support. And today, I'm going to show you how to get it installed, how to get started with it, and what you can do with it. Let's dive in. We just need to grab some binaries for the Rosco M68k, and we can run them on MAME, so let's get that done. If we go to the Rosco M68k example programs repository, and we'll just clone this. That'll get us all of the binaries for all the various firmware versions. We're going to want firmware 2 because that's the latest and that's what the current MAME is running. So if we just do a clone of that repository, and there we go. So if we're now looking at example programs, there's everything, happy days. And the next thing we need to do is install MAME. We maintain it in the homebrew-toolchain, in the homebrew tap, the Rosco M68k one. So if you've not tapped that already, instructions down in the description on how to do that. But really all you need to do is brew tap Rosco M68k homebrew-toolchain. This will probably tell me I've already got it tapped, or it will just silently go sure, whatever. That's fine, that's done, we've already got that tapped. The thing that we want to install is mame-sbc, that's MAME single board computer. Supports the Rosco M68k, it supports a few other single board computers. It's a fantastic thing to have, so let's get it installed. Brew install mame-sbc. Again, you can follow along with all of this, the instructions are going to be down in the description. Now we do maintain various bottles, for various different macOS versions and Linux, but if you don't have one, it's fine, it'll build it from source. It does take a little longer to install it that way, but if you've got Sonoma, if you've got Ventura, and Linux, as I say, is supported, we're adding new bottles all the time. I'll bring you back when it's finished. So it's all installed, let's get into using it. First of all, we need to finish setting it up. So when we've installed it from Brew, it does tell us that we need to set up the machine ROMs and set the ini path. We can do that quite easily. It gives us a command to do it. We can just run this command and that will just set everything up for us so that when we run it, it all runs just fine. And let's test it. So if we go into example programs, have a look. Firmware 2.x is what MAME comes with. So in order to run this, we go into the examples directory. Let's run adventure.bin, which is Jeff Tranter's text adventure. That'll be fun. We will run Rosco Classic V2. We want to use the quick load for adventure.bin. And I want to use the debugger as well because I want to show you how that all works. If you want to do any debugging, then you want to pass that, which will start it windowed. We've got the debugger that's popped up and we're at the very beginning of ROM. This is the entry point to the firmware. So that's all looking quite good. I'm going to make this a bit smaller. We will set up a breakpoint at 40,000 hex, 40,000 hex, which is the point where the user program gets loaded. The main firmware is built specially, so you don't have to send it over Kermit, it just gets loaded from that quick load parameter. Once we jump into user code, when it first loads up at 40,000, it will break in. So we'll set that breakpoint and then we'll just go. You can see that the firmware is running. It initializes hard drives. There aren't any in the emulator. Starts the MAME quick load kernel and then we stop at breakpoint 1. We could step through single step with the enter button, and as you can see there, we're single stepping up here. Or what we could also do is set another breakpoint at, say, 2000 hex after the relocation at the beginning of user programs. That's where we jump to. Future Ross here, editing the video. What past Ross had clearly forgotten was that we don't relocate programs to 2000, we relocate them to 1000, so that breakpoint is just set, it's never going to get hit, but we can gloss over that, right? G, That's not where it goes to.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
But what you can see now is we've got the abandoned farmhouse adventure running. So we can look around and go north. We can do all the things that we can do on your regular Rosco M68K, but at any point we can press return to break in, and then we can go back to single step in, and you've got all kinds of commands. So it's a very capable debugger. You can do help. We can do help, say breakpoints, and then we can get help on all the breakpoint, the various commands we can use for breakpoints, so we could clear them all. Also what we've got is we've got a full memory window in the debugger. So we can go up here, we can look at any point we want to in memory. So at the moment we started at 0, 0. If we wanted to look at the program that was loaded, that's the software that was loaded. It's probably been overwritten by the loader, but we can set watch points, anything really that you might need while you're debugging. It's super useful. If you're developing software and it's sort of non-trivial stuff, yes, you've got GDB available, but this can be easier because you can go in and change things quite easily in this GUI environment. It's really nice to use. So that's MAME. Get it installed, grab it from the Homebrew tap. If you don't have a Rosco M68K yet, but you want to play with things, this is a great way to do that as well. It's fab. Link in the description, instructions in the description. Go get it. And I'll see you next time, folks.